Since 1914, the International City and County Management Association has been representing the best and brightest in local government management. As the 2024 ICMA annual meeting brings together thousands to network and collaborate, ICMA TV is bringing you beyond the meeting.
Welcome to ICMA TV.
Welcome back to our thrilling third day together. I'm Autria Godfrey, your ICMA TV host, and today we're introducing you to the Changemakers. From the award winners who have dedicated their profession to the improvement of local government, to the bold local leaders unafraid to call out unethical practices, today is all about those making a difference.
The whole issue of trust is so critical for government, right? Because we are largely self-governed. The whole democracy theory rests on the fact that these are citizens that come to the table to do their best. And when that's damaged, it reverberates throughout the organization and throughout the community.
McMinnville's about 150 years old. It's long been a center for agriculture in the 50s and 60s. Nowadays, we're known for wine and hazelnuts.
And our tour takes us out west today as we pop a cork in Oregon to find out how wine country means big bucks for one small town. There is so much ahead today on ICMA TV and so many ways for you to watch. You can find the latest ICMA TV episodes airing on the TVs placed throughout the convention center, on the homepage of the ICMA meeting website, right on your device on the ICMA conference app, and on all of our social media channels, so make sure that you like and subscribe. We get started today with a very exciting opening general session and some big awards being handed out. The ICMA Distinguished Service Award is given to a manager retired from the profession who's made an outstanding contribution to the management profession and local government. It's our honor to introduce you to two of this year's award winners, Tony Gardner and Ron Carley.
I got into local government just by circumstance, and after a single day on the job, I decided it was more fun to make the news than to write about the news, and I've been doing local government pretty much for the past 49 years.
I was doing this and that and a number of things, and it occurred to me that working on financial matters was really important, and I had a little knack for it, and if we could do even better on financial matters, we would be able to serve the community well. And I concentrated on that and eventually started working on economic development. Receiving this award is quite humbling, and it also feels really good.
It is really special when people who are so busy and have such important jobs will actually take the time to make the nomination and support you. It's a truly incredibly high honor, and I really appreciate the people that nominated me and the ICMA board for approving it. It's very special. Well, I hope I never retire from the profession. My mission is to recruit and train the next generation of local government leaders and to be out in the field working with the people who are doing local government business day in and day out. I stay strongly connected to people in the field and the people who will be leading the field tomorrow.
The future of local government is complex, dynamic, challenging, and requires the reinvestment in the people who work in the organization to tool up with the technology and to work together better.
If we can get beyond partisanship and people can come together as a community, treating everybody in the community, I don't mean just some, I mean respecting all members as full participants in the community, and partnering with all the different sectors, there's nothing that local government cannot do.
Perhaps a nice Pinot to celebrate those well-deserved awards? Well, look no further than McMinnville, Oregon. Nestled in the heart of Oregon's wine country, this warm and inviting destination offers culture, arts, and of course, delicious wine tasting that's as welcoming as the people who live there.
McMinnville is about 150 years old. It's long been a center for agriculture. In the 50s and 60s, we were known for turkeys and black walnuts. Nowadays, we're known for wine and hazelnuts.
McMinnville is a fairly amazing city. We are the 18th largest city in Oregon. We've long had an agricultural staple, but over recent years, we've also grown to include lots of manufacturing, everything from health bars to electronics. We're also the heart of Oregon wine country, so immediately surrounded by about 200 wineries, and we're in the middle of the Willamette Valley, which is populated with over 700 wineries.
Our future's so bright, we've got to wear shades. We've got a great business community, over 2,000 businesses, about 90 manufacturers, a wide variety of sectors represented. We've got Oregon's only steel mill. It recycles about 95% of its material, and so we're really excited about McMinnville.
Turning now to the often overlooked Changemakers. The very first city manager was hired in Stanton, Virginia back in 1908, but it would be another 60 years before an African American held a city manager position. So how much progress have we truly made since then? A new initiative is aiming to put the spotlight on those deserving pioneers. Tad McGilliard and Kim Desmond are here now in studio to explain. Pleasure to have you both today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, Tad, I want to get started with you. Where did the idea for this initiative come from?
Yeah, I mean, we started thinking about this a few years before the pandemic started. We were approached by a number of members who wanted to sort of highlight underrepresented populations in the profession. And so from that point, we started doing some research, and we're halfway through the project, I would say, at this point.
And specifically, what is the goal of the Legacy and Diversity Initiative?
The goal is really to, again, highlight those pioneers in the profession who came from several underrepresented populations. We've mainly focused right now on African Americans, but we intend to start profiling, again, other underrepresented populations in the field.
Excellent. Kim, to answer the question that we posed earlier, how much progress do you think we've truly made when it comes to diversity within the profession?
We've made a lot of progress. And I think we made a lot of progress by ways of having a conversation around what does representation mean and how does representation bring innovative ideas to government spaces. And so most certainly we have a lot of firsts, and we've seen a lot of change in regards to how having a first create different conversations around who's not at the table.
Kim, congratulations to you on your new role within ICMA, Chief Equity Officer. What does your position entail, and how do you hope to see your vision executed?
The vision for this role is to create opportunities for learning and development around the topics of diversity, equity, inclusion. So we're going to have a lot of offerings, and we're going to also provide technical assistance to cities around how do you really learn how to build equitable structures. So it's certification and it's training as well.
And how do you hope to see your vision executed during your tenure?
Through the operations of how we get our certifications. And I hope to see a commitment to the way that we dismantle disparities and really understand what equity means, which equity means everyone is getting what they need.
Tad, you referenced the project that you're working on a couple of times. You're trying to highlight all the first African-American city managers. Can you elaborate on that and also tell us how it's going?
Yeah, sure. So just a little background. It was brought to us by the first African-American female in the profession and ICMA's first African-American president, Mr. Cy Murray and Sherry Suttles. Our goal originally was to highlight those early pioneers in the profession. So we've identified 40 or so African-Americans who started in the profession in 1968, and then we sort of concluded the research from the founding of the National Forum for Black Public Administrators in 1983.
Excellent. Kim, like I said, today we're highlighting the Changemakers. What legacy do you believe all of these pioneers left behind when it comes to the local government profession?
Well, I believe they started out by living a legacy. And so living a legacy allows us to have the conversation around ways in which a lack of representation, it doesn't allow you to have a dialogue around how history has left some folks out of the conversation. So I would say they're still living a legacy in allowing us to have the dialogue around, like, what does it mean to be the first and not the last?
Tad, final question for you. Where can people go to find more information or to see, how the project is coming along so far?
As always, go to ICMA.org, but we do have the very first video of Mr. James C. Johnson up on our website.
Wonderful. Thanks to you both for your time today.
Thanks.
Snoqualmie, Oregon is truly a special place, offering a wonderful environment to live, work, and play. It is rich in history and natural beauty and named after the indigenous Snoqualmie tribe. Check out how the tribe plays a significant role in enhancing both the local culture and economic development.
Snoqualmie is truly a special place, offering a wonderful environment to live, work, and play. It is rich in history and natural beauty. It is named after the indigenous Snoqualmie tribe. The area has been a vital cultural and sacred site for thousands of years, especially around Snoqualmie Falls, which is a traditional cultural property. The Snoqualmie tribe plays a significant role in our community today, enhancing both the local culture and economic development. Snoqualmie offers an exceptional quality of life, combining natural beauty with modern amenities. Overall, Snoqualmie's future will balance economic growth with a strong focus on affordable housing, expanded transit options, recreational and exciting community attractions, ensuring it remains a desirable place to live, work, and visit.
All this week, we continue our celebration of the 100 years of the ICMA's Code of Ethics. But today, we are diving into what it means to uphold integrity, transparency, and accountability, even in a situation of unethical leaders. Mike Condiff and Valerie Lemmy are experts on the issue and are in studio with us now with some advice. Pleasure to have you both today.
Thanks,
Thank
Autria.
you. All right, I want to get started with you both setting the stage. And how are some of the ways that officials can act unethically?
So when we think about the city manager profession, I mean, obviously all of the misbehavior sorts of things, misusing funds and those sorts of issues. And then there also, for our ICMA Code of Ethics, we have a tenure requirement. So we ask folks to come and make a big commitment to a community. Sometimes that happens. Then we see where elected officials, particularly with some of the issues going on nationally, become irrational and misbehave as well.
Do you have any examples that you can give us of how maybe somebody has acted unethically?
An example that I can share with you, certainly in my days as city manager, the council, in response to a huge demand about having minority contracting opportunities and ensuring that everyone that had a business in the city had an opportunity to compete for contracts. They wanted to give a contract to someone I felt didn't have the experience, and so in my recommendation, I said, I do not recommend. They voted and decided to do it anyway. The assumption was, well, the council members wanted it, so we felt we had to do it. Well, that's not an excuse. The staff were fired from the person who had the review responsibility, the inspector, to the department head.
Wow.
And so trying to help the elected officials made a very difficult and bad situation worse. It created a real public trust concern on the part of the city council. And so having procedures in place where we were able to recognize the problem, acting immediately as soon as I found out that something was untoward, and being as transparent and as open as possible so that the public understood that this was an isolated case, that there was not a cultural problem or an issue across multiple departments.
Mike, when something like this happens, though, how much damage is done in regards to the public's trust?
The whole issue of trust is so critical for government, right? Because we are largely self-governed. The whole democracy theory rests on the fact that these are citizens that come to the table to do their best. And when that's damaged, it reverberates throughout the organization and throughout the community, sometimes throughout the state. So the whole notion of transparency that Valerie's talked about becomes more critical.
How do you get that trust back?
It takes a long time, and it takes just being very, very clear about what it is that we want to try to do, what it is that we are doing, and what it is that we have done.
So, two-part question. Say you're a city manager or you're working in a city manager's office. You have a suspicion that there's some ethical behavior going on. What can you do? And two, how do you make sure that your office is one that promotes that transparency and accountability?
The first thing is you act immediately. If you suspect something, then you go to the appropriate person. And if we're able as an institution to solve it, at least people know that we have systems in place, we identified the problem ourselves, and we responded. Otherwise, you're liable and you're culpable for what happened.
And how do you create that atmosphere of accountability, transparency, so that somebody in your office feels compelled to do that?
You set the standard early and very clearly. We talk about posting that ICMA Code of Ethics on your wall. Frame it, put it on the wall. The first thing people see when they come in is your code. And then you reference that in all of your actions. And so with the elected officials particularly, you try to articulate, hey, I'm bound by the ICMA Code of Ethics. You can count on me to behave this way.
Okay, and you have a session talking specifically about this coming up tomorrow. When is it and where is it?
It is tomorrow afternoon at 2:15 in the Convention Center.
Absolutely. We'd love to have folks there.
Thank you both so much for your time today and for all of your insight. Very interesting. Thank you. Our tour takes us to Colorado now and to Timnath, a rapidly growing town that has preserved its small town charm. The town's leadership responds quickly to community requests, fostering a sense of trust and collaboration with residents.
Timnath is the absolute best place in northern Colorado to raise a family. We are so fortunate that there is so much demand in northern Colorado that we really are able to focus on high quality and thoughtful development. Our town staff is just incredible. They really love and appreciate and want the best for this town. Our community really comes together frequently, as evidenced in our just exceptional town events.
Sometimes government feels a little bit inaccessible. You're not going to be able to necessarily get an appointment with the President of the United States or even the Governor of Colorado. But at local government, you have an opportunity to interact with the boots on the ground. That's one of the reasons I love working in local government, is immediate impact and working in and knowing the folks in your community, knowing them personally by name and what their specific wants and desires for their future are.
As we commemorate 100 years of putting the I in ICMA, we wanted to see how the association is having a global impact. We take a trip to Eswatini as we go around the world in 60 seconds.
My name is Lungile Dlamini, and I'm from the Kingdom of Eswatini. And my position is I'm a city manager for the second city in Eswatini, Manzini. ICMA has played a major role in my community. It has just entered the space. And we have, through coming through about 5 conferences, learned a lot in terms of professional development, innovative ways of service delivery, and issues of leadership and how to maneuver with our elected officials. Coming to this annual meeting broadens my horizon of networks. I've met city managers from almost all over the US, all over the world, and it's meant a lot to me because coming into a space whereby everyone is a city manager as well, it grows you. You come out more capable, you have answers to your challenges at home. The world is global. With climate change, with all that is happening now, we really need to lead this world into a sustainable future together.
Pueblo West, a metropolitan district in southern Colorado, has been a dynamic community since its inception in the 1960s. As home to the largest attended park in Colorado, Pueblo West prides itself on providing a rich blend of recreation opportunities, rural charm, and metropolitan convenience.
Pueblo West is a diamond in the rough. Going back to the 60s, when the developer initially recognized the value that a wide open community would provide residents, developing residential properties, commercial properties, industrial properties.
Pueblo West is a metropolitan district in southern Colorado. Our community has 35,000 residents, approximately, with about 12,000 households. It offers an opportunity for anybody who is looking for a lifestyle, usually more affordable, outside of bigger cities, to still be within range of those types of amenities that they would like to be able to drive within maybe 15 to 30 minutes.
We offer a range of activities, programs. We have 24 miles of trail, which are vital in this community, and everyone uses those trails.
The weather here is basically perfect. We've got snow if you want it, so it's perfect. The climate's perfect, the people are perfect, and the town, the way it's laid out, is perfect.
In 2017, the quiet college town of Charlottesville, Virginia was catapulted into the national spotlight when white supremacists took over the streets and riots turned deadly. Well, since then, the city has taken significant steps to make Charlottesville a place for all, starting with Ashley Marshall, who is here with us in studio now. Pleasure to have you today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go back to when you first joined the city of Charlottesville. You started in 2021. What would you say the feeling of the city was like then?
So during 2021 was definitely a time of change. We, of course, were in a global pandemic with everyone else, but also The reason why the issue happened in 2017 was because in 2016, we actually voted to remove our Confederate statues. However, it ended up becoming a legal battle. And in April of 2021, the courts finally said, okay, Charlottesville, you can remove your statues. So I remember my very first day walking down the pedestrian mall. The city manager, Chip Boyles at the time, said, Ashley, I need you to focus in on two things: moving our Confederate statues and our unsheltered population.
When you came into the picture, the entire city manager's office, all the staffers were kind of relatively new, correct?
Yes.
So how did that help you when it came to enacting change?
It absolutely is helpful. I remember that my first leadership team meeting, City Manager Boyles at the time looked at his staff and said, equity is everywhere, and so is Ashley. He didn't have to do that. And so when we think about the fact that I came in as the Deputy City Manager for Racial Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, that really set the tone from the top to say that this was something that was extraordinarily important for the organization. And our City Council had already set the tone with their strategic plan that this was work that was important to them as well.
So what were your marching orders? What were you supposed to come in and do?
So part of my work was to establish an office focused in on the work, in addition to create some frameworks so that we could really integrate the work into our organization. We knew that our community wanted this to be a focus. We knew that our council wanted this to be a focus. And in 2019, some research had been done that established the need for someone to lead it. And so there was definitely some pre-work that had been done, but there really, again, wasn't that playbook. And so from there, we've been able to build a framework, and we were continuing to work to flesh out the Office of Social Equity.
So you've been in the position for about 3 years now. How much progress would you say that you've noticed?
I think that there's been a lot of progress, actually. I'm very lucky to have come into an organization with members of the staff who, when I ran a training for the first time, I just sent an email out to all staff. It was full. I have not mandated any training. These are individuals who want to learn, who want to serve their community with that equity lens to make sure that everyone feels like they are getting excellent quality service, that they're having an opportunity to be heard. And so I've got to admit, it's a little easier when you have a staff like that.
Right, a lot of support. How would you describe the Charlottesville of today?
I think the Charlottesville of today is really trying to think through its next steps. We're a community that happens to have a public ivy in it. We're a community where Drury Bridge was named after individuals who marched for civil rights in the 50s. We're a community where now an elementary school is called Trailblazers, after the individuals who worked so hard to integrate it. So we're really working on making sure that we're serving our community as best we can, making sure we're planning for the future, and doing all of that with a lens of equity.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for being one of our change makers, and best of luck in your endeavors.
Thank you so much.
We still have our fourth and final day ahead tomorrow, and you won't want to miss our focus on the up and coming next generation of local leaders tomorrow. But if you want to check back on any portion of today's episode, remember, you can find the latest ICMA TV episodes airing on the TVs placed throughout the Convention Center right at your fingertips on the ICMA Conference app, also on the homepage of the ICMA Meeting app, and on all of our different social media channels, so make sure you like and subscribe. Thanks again for your time today. Go have a great one, everybody. We will see you right back here once again tomorrow.